Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Lara.
Leave examples to be followed. Sir Garfield Sobers gave us both. But more importantly, Sir Garfield Sobers personally coached and inspired generations long after he was gone. I quote from a fellow famous Bajan, Barbados. Today we lost a legend and an icon. The right excellent Sir Garfield Sobers, the greatest cricketer this world has ever seen. And at 21, he became the youngest cricketer to hold the whole record for the highest individual score in Test cricket. A record that stood for 36 years, inspiring all of us, including me. I played cricket with my brother in the cemetery. I bust my shins. Barbados loves you eternally, Sir Gary. Rihanna, Barbados living legend. Over the last few days, I struggled with what I would say today. But now I'm here, I realize something. This is not a sad moment. This is a moment for us to celebrate. And I hope you feel the same. Today, we celebrate a remarkable life, the life of the greatest all-round cricketer. I'm looking at this beautiful oval with the blue and yellow seats, the Barbados colors, the magnificent Garfield Sobers Pavilion, the media center behind me, and of course this beautiful structure. And a lot of people represented around the world right here in front of me and also on the television. I believe we truly have a life to celebrate. As I was crossing the road, an old gentleman said to me, "Mr. Lara, I heard you speaking. Tell them I'm an all-rounder too. I can't bat, I can't bowl, and I can't field." But today, we pay tribute to the man who could have done it all. A life unlike any other. But more importantly, we celebrate a man who gave much of himself to his family, to Barbados, to the West Indies, and to all of us who had the privilege of knowing him. For me, Sir Gary was not just a West Indian sporting hero, whose records inspired me and millions of sportsmen and sportswomen. He became a personal mentor, a friend, and someone whose belief in me shaped my own journey. I was fortunate enough to break one of his records, but that's where the similarities ended. He was so much more. A lot of the disciplines that make up the game of cricket, that 99% of us cricketers did not consider it part of our DNA. Sir Garfield Sobers did it with ease and grace. No one did it better. A few stories. The first time I met Sir Garfield Sobers, it was at the school's tournament, branded by his name. And he got a message from Charlie and Brian Davis that a young man was coming to Barbados and he should have a look at him. He came and he met the team. And I looked at him, shook his hand, and I said, "Sir Sobers, are you the real Sir Sobers?" And he said yes. I left, I strapped up my pads, and I was praying that day I was the only batter that he was actually going to see. When I got back to Trinidad, I told my dad that I met Sir Garfield Sobers, and he said to me, "What was he like?" I said, "Dad, he liked my batting. He really liked my batting." A few years later, Sir Garfield Sobers stormed into the dressing room at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and Rohan Kanai, our coach, said, "Sir Garfield is here to see you." And I was in the shower. And before I can get out the shower, Sir Garfield was in front of me, and he was berating me, he's telling me, "What is wrong with you?" I thought this man came to congratulate me on my 277. He said, "Young man, there was nothing in the game you could not have won. You cannot throw away opportunities like that." And I understood him. 14, 15 months later, that unique walk of Sir Garfield Sobers entering the field in Antigua was something very, very special for me. To have the man that was my mentor, the man that believed in me, to be there was something very special. That hug, you guys don't understand that hug. It felt like if he was silently telling himself, "My son did it. My son did it." Sir Garfield Sobers was not only there for my good times. He was there also for the darker periods. And I remember once in Jamaica, I called him and I asked about a few things about my batting. And he listened for a couple of minutes and he said to me, "I'll be on a plane tomorrow, I'll come to Jamaica to see you." A day later, Sir Garfield walked on to the Kensington Cricket Club in Jamaica, stood behind the nets, and started watching me bat. I missed a couple balls, hit a couple balls, and he looked at me and he said, "Young man, you're not looking at the ball." Well, I mean, you can tell a batter that he's not moving his feet, or he's leaning over too much on the offside, but to tell a batter that he's not looking at the ball is a kind of difficult one to take. So I went back and I patted my bat a little harder, more determined now, when Courtney Walsh came in and pulled the ball just a little fraction outside off stump, and I crashed it through cover. And he said, "Good shot, but you're still not looking at the ball. That should have gone through mid-off." He called me closer and he said, "Who is at the top of the map?" I said, "Ambrose." He said, "What he has in his hand?" I said, "A ball. Color? Red." He said, "Go back and bat. Don't take that ball out of your eyesight. From the top of his run right till you get there." Ambrose delivered a short one, and I got back, and with so much time, I pulled that ball through mid-wicket. And only then I realized that I was only picking up the ball after it was delivered. The genius fixed me again. Sir Garfield Sobers entered this earth 8 years after we were given test status in 1928. He would have only read about Carl Loons, Sir Larry Constantine, even Sir George Headley. He spent his youth during World War II, and he was good enough at 17 to become a test cricketer in 1954, only 4 years after we achieved our first victory in England. Sir Garfield Sobers' career spanned a period when we were searching for that belief. We discovered that belief, and we realized that we can beat any cricketing nation that we played against. He retired, I think in 1974, and for the next 20 years, Sir Garfield Sobers inspired a group of young men to stand tall, to play with pride, and to become the dominant force in world cricket for 15 to 20 years. Following that dominance, I spent a lot of time with Sir Garfield Sobers, and there were cries of joy when we won. ICC Champions Trophy, beautiful victory here against Australia, a couple great T20 World Cup victories, but on many occasions we cried from heartbreak and sadness. And if it's something that I'd like to leave here today, and maybe to tell the powers that be, use this opportunity to create a Sir Garfield Sobers initiative that when we come back in 10 years' time to celebrate its 100th birthday, we might be celebrating a true resurgence in West Indies cricket. First time I met you, you were Sir Sobers. Sir Sobers, rest in peace, my mentor, my dad, my friend. Thank you very much.